My name is Alexander Fridman, and I am founder and CEO of company Wapi. That company Wapi has created a professional e-commerce community to boost your online trading business. Hi everybody, it's Wapi Webinars again. It's Thursday, the Wapi company and Alex Fridman with you as always. And today with me is wonderful guest, Stefano Pudu. Hi, Stefano.
Hi, Alex.
Stefano, how are you doing?
Great. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast, your webinar.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming to us. And I'll explain a little bit to our viewers. Stefano is founder of Ecom Partner. This company has spent 4 years growing dozens of brands on Amazon Europe. Stefano helps to launch products, grow revenues while keeping PPC cost low and solve any kind of Amazon related challenges. So very important guest with us today, and we want to hear something very special from you.
Thank you, Alex, for the intro. Yes, that's what we do. We help brands sell on Amazon in Europe. I'm Italian, living in Spain, so the team is European, and I think it's very important to have native speakers managing Europe, since there are many languages, different marketplaces. So all this experience really help the brands to differentiate themselves and, as I said, grow. That's what brands want: to grow and cut costs.
Absolutely, and gain revenues.
Exactly.
So before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get to the e-com business, to online business? Did you do the digital marketing all your life, or how it happened that you started the business on Amazon?
Sure. So long story short, I have always worked in digital marketing for startups. And in 2016, I started selling on Amazon with my private label brand. I had a pet products brand, pet accessory brand, because at that day I had a dog. And I always had the problem when I ran with the dog, that the dog ran away, right? So at that point, I discovered that there was this thing called Amazon FBA. And there you go. I combined my problem with the business, and I launched a dog running leash that allowed me to run with the dog without the dog running away. And that's how I started my career on Amazon, let's say. And then from there, I started a meetup. And, you know, when you have a meetup in Barcelona, people see you as the expert. And pretty soon I started helping other companies, consulting. And step by step, I created the agency. And fast forward today, the agency now has in-house team, and we specifically focus on PPC, but we also help with product launches, with content. And as I said, we really specialize on the European marketplaces. And I think this experience that I got by being a seller first, and then a consultant, really helps, because I understand the different phases, not just PPC as numbers, right? But more in a not in a silo, but more in the whole perspective of a brand. You know, sometimes, especially recently, there has been a lot of issues with the supply chain disruption. So that's a point that we consider when we run PPC campaigns. You don't want to run PPC campaigns, spend money, run out of stock, and lose all your ranking and all the money that you've invested in PPC. So that's my story pretty much.
Your story helps you to see like everything from a helicopter view. You understand all the business, and you can help in general, not with something special, but
exactly.
You see the picture. This is very important.
Exactly. As I said, I've spoken with so many Amazon sellers, been to meetups all over Europe, events. And, you know, for Amazon sellers, there are a lot of events in Europe, seller conferences, and it's like a small ecosystem, and everybody knows each other most of the time. There are some podcasts as well. But then, of course, with years, I've also helped, let's say, Shopify owners, Shopify store owners launch on Amazon. So we got to understand also that other part of Amazon brands, how to combine D2C with your Amazon presence, and sometimes it can be tricky. You know, one thing that I can say, for example, very quick suggestion: if you already have a Shopify store, usually you don't run branded keyword campaign on Amazon just because you want to drive that traffic to your store instead of to Amazon, right? So usually when we have a client that has his own DTC store, we never run branded keywords campaign on Amazon.
So you're trying to move the traffic from Amazon to their Shopify store, right?
Yes, especially for branded keywords, we feel like it's better to drive that traffic to their store. But of course, Amazon, what we try to do is get the traffic in Amazon, on Amazon, right? If that is your strategy, because sometimes actually the strategy is the opposite. Sometimes the store is already established, you're just launching your Amazon store, and then you want to drive your branded keywords, right? So it really depends which stage are you in. Also depends on what kind of pricing you have. Sometimes sellers have different pricing where they have higher price on Amazon, just because Amazon charges you a referral fee. So you have to consider that. This referral fee usually between 7 up to 14, 15%. You don't get that. You don't have to pay that on Shopify. Of course, other times on the opposite, they charge, customers, clients have lower pricing on Amazon just because they're still launching, they're still building SEO ranking. So they want to be the most competitive product before raising the price, you know? So it's also a matter of balancing and understanding where is the brand, what are the expectations, what are the long-term goals, and you can replicate the same perspective for products, you know, because each product has a product life cycle. So you have to consider that as well when you create a strategy for a brand.
And so, again, before we go to some details, can you tell us something what is happening just right now in this Amazon ecosystem? Because the turbulence on the market is very high
Yes.
in different economic fields. So, what changes do you see right now on Amazon in Europe?
Well, first of all, they recently changed CEO, right? No, the CEO is still the same. Bezos stepped down, but I've read like recently that they are planning, first of all, on Amazon in general is switching its strategy. They're closing some brick and mortar store, 50% they're closing down. They're subletting some warehouse space because they've built too much, especially because during the COVID 2020, the first lockdown, e-commerce boomed, right? So everybody made growth expectations that were too positive. And now they have kind of step back and reevaluate the situation. So Amazon is doing the same, reevaluate where they were going. As many e-commerce brand like Peloton, for example, that sells bicycle, right? And now they are laying off. But what I'm saying that Amazon is doing great, is doing well, is just now is stepping back and reevaluating his position, as I said, reducing warehouse space, try to invest more in ads. So that's one thing that is certain. They are investing money on the advertising platform, the advertising console. That means that if you want to sell on Amazon more and more, it's a pay to play. So for the marketplace and for sellers, that's a very applicable perspective. And also in terms of warehouse, I would say 3PLs are more important than ever. And that's where Wapi comes in. You guys really help with that, right? Now many, even smaller sellers now are considering doing merchant fulfilled, you know, because it's more common to have prime merchant fulfilled. Fees are raising up. So another trend is Amazon fees are keep on rising, right, for fulfillment. So it makes more sense to evaluate a 3PL, and for sure you can agree with that, I guess.
It's a pity, but prices are rising everywhere.
Everywhere, yes. That is true.
Nobody can stop this one.
That is true.
Amazon is the biggest player, but one of all of us. So in that we all have this problem of raising prices.
Yes. Oh, everything is, even raw materials in China, right, are raising shipment costs. So it just either you raise your end prices. The question is what sellers are going to do. Are they going to raise prices or not? And most of the sellers actually are doing that. Otherwise, you have to cut costs somewhere, relocating your supply chain somewhere in closer. Turkey now seems to be a country where many brands are exploring the possibility of sourcing there, just because it's closer to Europe. I said European brands in general. So that's another thing that, strategically speaking, it's good to consider. Of course, depends on which category you sell, but at least in terms of supply chain, have a backup supplier. That's a must, I would say.
Do you see the decrease in demand? Like, do you see that the traffic is lower than previous years?
It seems that traffic is slowing down. It's true, because as I said, 2020, the growth was exponential. I think the traffic growth has gone back to what it was before the pandemic. So it's still growing, but less. So the volume is still there. I mean, Amazon is still the big giant monopoly. So it's still a great idea if you're not selling there to consider doing that. Of course,
everybody see that there is a decrease in demand. Hopefully, it will not fall a lot.
Yeah.
Just a small decrease, and then we will continue to grow, because everybody who came to ecom is here because we believe that e-commerce will grow for the next 20-30 years, and then we don't want to stop the growth.
That is correct, Alex. I think the growth is there. I mean, it's just gonna be slower, but e-commerce is only gonna take market share out from retail stores. So I mean, the trend is definitely up, and I don't see any big challenger now for Amazon. Because they've built so many warehouses all over the place. So they still have the advantage on that, even though companies are closing the gap. Shopify has bought a big warehouse company. So and actually that is good for the market. That means that there's more competition.
Shopify has
No, I
bought
think that's in the States. I mean, that's in the States. But in Europe, I mean, there are companies like Wapi, right, that help picking the best solutions. You guys help with inverse logistic, and sometimes it's just complicated to understand if it's a good offer or not. I mean, you really need.
When you want to go global, it's you want to have a partner that has fulfillment centers in all the countries and can help you in any country, be localized with fast deliveries.
Yes.
And the reverse logistics and with storage. You want to have somebody who will help you grow to new markets. And that's actually the first question for you: is what are the steps to expand into a new region or onto a new marketplace?
Well, usually what we do, Alex, is first of all, consider the catalog, consider the type of products the brand is selling. And usually what we do is pick the best sellers. If the catalog is very deep, pick the best sellers and try to launch them where there is more demand for that type of products. It happens to be that Germany and the UK most of the times are the two marketplaces where there's most of the demand and there most of the sales are made. So usually we start in Germany. We suggest the brands to start in Germany just because Germany is in the middle of Europe and it's easier than as a logistics center, right, to ship and distance sell to all the other European countries. Because the idea to use Amazon is to leverage their marketplace and the capability of shipping through the European fulfillment network through other countries. If you don't want to do that, still it's an advantage to be able to just translate your listing in another language. Maybe you want to merchant fulfill, great. Still you're able to sell to Spanish customer just by translating your listing and starting PPC campaigns to test if actually the product is going to sell or not. So you don't need to create a new Shopify store in Spanish or in French or in Italian. You just have to translate a few of your products if you want to do that, right? And that's the fastest way. Well, usually when brands want to test and see, okay, is it this product going to sell or not? Of course, we do the market study, but sometimes it's a matter of testing and see how it goes. And as I said, creating the listings, Germany and UK are the countries where most of the sales are made. And then of course you have to launch the PPC campaigns. If you don't do PPC, it's very hard to rank. In Europe, contrary to the States, is not that common to bring outside traffic. So most of the product launches that we do are just by using PPC. Even with few reviews, in our experience, products are still able to sell well, right? So sometimes we activate Amazon Vine reviews where you pay a fee, and Amazon in exchange will ship the products for free to some selected buyers, and likely they will leave a review. Before, like 5 years ago, you could use review clubs. I don't know if you remember, but everybody was buying reviews. Nowadays, Amazon is very strict. Don't do that. Otherwise, you get suspended.
But
so
still,
that's yeah.
Still, you can ask your friend to buy.
You can ask your friend. Yes, yes, you can do that. That still works. Even though I've read that Amazon even checks if like the IP where that person left a review is in maybe your neighbor or in your same house. Like, ask your friend that lives not too close. Don't ask your wife to leave a review for you from the same computer. You know what I mean? With the same with the same account.
Yeah. Wow, they're checking it.
They do it. Yes, it's crazy. Yes.
So again, but still, Europe is different from States because of the different countries. So when you go to a new country, it's matter not only of translation. You have to understand the mentality. So how do you help to understand whether these bestsellers will work out in a new country? Maybe they're selling good in Germany, but they will not sell good in Italy or in UK.
Exactly. Well, look, Alex, at the end, it's both a science and an art to understand if a product will sell well or not. So the market research gets you an understanding of the keyword volume, how much is that keyword being searched, so that's a number. And the number of competition is another data point that we analyze, how many similar products there are. And if there are similar products, are they exactly like yours or you have some advantage? I just spoken with a client today and it sells air filters, but his air filters are different because they have a ionization function that even Philips don't have. So there already you can see that that's your differentiation, right? You have something that the others don't have. So differentiation means a feature or maybe a bundle that you can create. We have to be creative. Sometimes we help clients in being creative. Let's say you have a kitchen product and maybe you can bundle it with some other kitchen product and people will just buy the two together, So sometimes also being creative and trying something out of the ordinary. And of course, we don't have the crystal ball, so we're not sure 100% that that's going to be successful. But at the end of the day, e-commerce, it's also a lot about testing, and that's why I said art component is important, and experience, I guess, gives you that insight in kind of having a better understanding of which strategy to test. And as you said, to answer your question, it's true. Markets are different in Europe. Clients are different. Sometimes product sells well in Italy, doesn't sell well in France. Seasonality is different because in Germany it's cold even in June, while garden products sell well in Italy and Spain from March or April, So you have to consider that as well.
Do you have any like stop loss on the testing budget for a product? For
That's a good
example,
question.
how much money I need to
Yeah.
spend to understand that this is not the right product for this country?
Well, look, I have to say, usually, when we launch products, even in a test phase, it always goes well because we tell from the start, we can tell from the start if it's gonna be a bad product. The only question is how much, like how many revenues will you get? But it's a fact that if we suggest our partners to go on with a product, most of the time it does sell, right? It's just a matter of
So tell us then the secret.
the secret.
One, two, three. What are the main bullet points like to understand that the product will sell good?
Well, as I said, I have something different. If you digit your main keyword and you see that there are 10 products like yours, it's not a good idea. Let's say a toy. The call with a guy that was selling a little toy for 10 euros. And I said, how much are you selling for? 9 euros. Okay, which is your main keyword? And it was something like octopus toy, something like that. And I saw the main page and there were 10 exactly like him, like his product. And I asked him, how are you different from these products? He said, no, I'm not different. I said, well, look, then maybe it's not a good idea to launch this product. And actually, he had another copycat product, and in 6 months, he sold probably 200 units. That means that it wasn't a good idea to sell. So no copycat products. First rule. Second rule, create a brand. Plus content, do it. If they don't have the video, have the video. If they don't have 3D rendering in the pictures, have 3D rendering in the pictures. Now you have even 360 degrees pictures that you can turn around. Have like in the A+ content, have tables where you compare your products to the others, to differentiate yourself. And then the store is very important. So brand registry, invest in your brand, register the brand. These are the main step. Content is super important nowadays. And be honest with yourself. Are you good with PPC or not? Because if you're not, then maybe you're gonna just throw money away. That's another important point since the space is getting.
At the beginning, everybody is not so good at PPC.
Well, it's true. It's true. If you start from scratch, you don't have experience. It's definitely hard. 5 years ago, it was much easier. I remember 5 years ago, there were just sponsored product, keyword campaign. There was no easy targeting campaigns, no branded, no sponsored brand campaign, no sponsored display. 5 years ago, it was super easy. You either had automatic campaigns or manual keyword campaigns, So nowadays, it's a little bit hard.
Nowadays, you'll have to ask Stefano to help you.
Or maybe spend some time testing for yourself and see if it works out.
Okay. And so how quick it is to launch on Amazon Europe? So
I would say it's very quick, Alex. With your help, with the warehouse, once the products are there, you can launch in 1 month. You can create the account, get brand registered, and in 1 month you will have your products there already. So it's quick, doesn't take too much time.
How quick it is to launch successfully on Amazon?
That's another. That's all. That depends on your budget. That depends on your budget. Do you want to invest in your store? Do you want to invest in A+ content, in great content? That's all depends on your budget.
So what is the average budget that you have to have now to start a successful campaign on Amazon?
Depends how many products you want to sell, how many countries.
Usually for the starter, they have 1 to 3 products, not more.
Well, let's say 1 to 3 products for one country, 10,000 at least, 10,000 at least. Because you have to have reorder. Depends also where you source. If you source next door, okay, maybe the cash flow is better. But if you have to pay a supplier in China, wait for production, and then wait for the boat to come here, that's gonna take what, 3 months, right? So you have to consider your cash flow. Is your cash flow enough? Like if you do handmade stuff, then maybe even less. But if you have to source from China, the money that you get paid from Amazon and then you pay to the supplier, you have to wait 3 months before you start seeing, the cash flow.
I'm not sure that 10,000 will be enough. Actually.
Yeah, probably not. I said 10,000 just not to scare people out, but
no, tell the truth.
tell the truth. Yeah. Yes, 10,000, but plus you have to have money in the bank to live, and like
plus 20,000 you have to have on the bank account.
yes, something like that. Yes, like 10,000 just for that, right? And yeah.
Okay. So, and what are the difference between European marketplaces?
Well, let's start saying, as we said before, that still Germany is the biggest, and UK second place. Then we have France, Spain, Italy. Amazon has open up shop in Poland, Sweden, in Holland. So there are minor marketplaces where usually the revenues are a small percentage compared to the rest. So I would say focus on the big five at first, and differences are, of course, the language, localization has to be done properly, seasonality consideration are different, and that's another important point. Even the type of ads that you use are different. But the main point is that the content has to be written in a different way, just because the customers think differently. So a German,
for example,
a German is more rational. So you have to talk about the the features, everything explained very well, what it does, what it doesn't do. While a Spanish content usually is more about benefits and less about features. So it's even maybe telling a story, telling a story about how to use that product. Sometimes it works. So I mean, even if you have a look at the listing in the States, you will see what I'm talking about. Is you can see like the sales copy that is used in the States won't work in Germany. Germans don't really respond to that, as I said. And sorry.
What about Italy?
Italy is in between, I would say, between Spain and Germany. I think Spain and Germany are like the extreme. It's in between. I mean, I'm Italian, so I'm biased. But usually listings in Italy that I see working well are not too long. Like bullet points are not too long. Usually, if the bullet points are too long, people think they're like just either then they don't want to read too much, or they look like Chinese, especially in the title. The title, if you put too many keywords, they're not connected. In Italy, it won't work. People don't like that. They associate that as a Chinese product. If you're trying to keyword stuff in your title, that's a no-no. And actually, we suggest to use keyword phrase, or even less, keep it short. I'm a believer in keeping the title short. Sometimes, other times, maybe it's better to have more. It really depends on the product, but especially in Italy, I see longer title not really working.
What about France?
France, France is a mystery. I don't understand the French. No, but we have a French guy here, so he takes care of making sure that all is taken care of in France, and they have their own. They are just different, in they're funny. But yeah, as I said, I'm not the expert on France. But yeah,
that's always like this. We also have in Wapi a separate person who is specialized in France.
Oh, okay. So you agree with me? It's just a different word, right?
Yeah, it's just a different mentality. Actually, it is very connected to the language. So usually the specialist of the country is the person who is talking French very good and understands the mentality, because the language at the bottom. So if you understand the language, you can understand the people, you can understand how to do the listings, you can understand how to sell the goods there. But if you don't know the language, it is very difficult with France.
Yes, it's true. I agree with that. Winning strategy, I would say it's very important now to have a clear path you want to go. That means catalog selection, and then of course PPC is gonna make it or break it for you. Content, second point, as we stressed many times, content. So you have to have the foundations, right? Foundations. Winning strategies, in my opinion, Alex, is more about first of all using the so-called honeymoon period on Amazon. That's the best winning strategy of all, where when you launch a product, Amazon gives you more ranking juice if you're able to sell. So make sure to make the most out of those, whatever, 1, 2, 3 weeks. It's a secret. Amazon doesn't tell how long does it last. And, the algorithm is a secret. We can only deduct from experience, but there is this honeymoon period. So first tip, make the most out of that. That means have everything ready for launch, brand registry content, best PPC strategy. So when you start, it's like a race, and then you sprint. That's very important to build that momentum. Build that momentum, and once you have that momentum, you have reviews, you have ranking juice, then you have to keep that momentum. So the strategies are different. The winning strategies from
Honeymoon is something like 2-3 weeks after you start. You must.
Well, look, it's not, Amazon doesn't tell exactly. So we have to kind of imagine, how long does it last? What are the impacts and all that? Experts and even what we have tested say that it's around, let's say, 2 to 4 weeks after you launch. Like if you manage to really drive sales during those time, and you show the algorithm, Amazon algorithm, that you can sell, your product is good, you can convert. That's an important point. You can convert well. So that means that you have to have a lower price at the beginning because you don't have reviews.
It is according to every new listing?
Sorry?
It is about every new listing that you add?
Yes, each listing has this honeymoon period. But even the account has a honeymoon period. Like if you have a new account, and you launch many products together, then the algorithm gives more depth to that, because you say, oh, you have to put yourself in the shoes of Amazon. What does Amazon want? They want big brands to sell a lot of products. So if you're a big brand with a lot of products, they will give you more so-called juice, right? If you launch just one product, then maybe you say, okay, this is another guy that is putting a label in. Of course, if you do everything right, the product is great, and you rank. I mean, you can rank for that product well. Then you build that momentum. So other winning strategies are used once you're ranking to keep that momentum going, and that is more about building brand awareness. So at the beginning, you wanna be at the bottom of the funnel, right? And later on, you're gonna build a brand equity and doing a lot of branded campaigns and using branded sponsor brands. But at the beginning, you really want to drive sales and convert. That's the most important thing.
Super wonderful. So as always, I have three questions, standard questions. The first one is 3 short takeaways, how to be successful on Amazon in Europe. Very short one, 3 takeaways, because usually people who watch, they don't remember all the webinars.
Yes.
They will remember these 3 things.
Catalog selection, market and competition analysis, great content, launch strategy.
Great. And the second question usually is what not to do. 3 mistakes, 3 short takeaways. Don't do this, and this.
Well, I would say, first of all, don't launch all your product at once in all the countries. Focus on your bestseller, number one. Don't try to save money at the beginning with content. And third, don't try to buy reviews or do any dodgy stuff, because you don't want to lose your account.
Okay, wonderful. So don't cheat.
Yes.
Be an honest seller.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. And the last question usually is 3 short takeaways how to be successful in business in general.
Okay, that's a good one. In business in general.
But as an entrepreneur in general.
Well, first, I would say have your why cleared. That means, why are you doing what you are doing? Have that clear in your mind. Second, I would say plan and know where you're going. Like if you go in the wrong direction, then it takes time to go back, and don't launch too many businesses at the same time. That's an error that I see some young entrepreneurs doing, focusing on too many things, the so-called shiny object syndrome, where you read an article on the internet, oh, look, I want to create a crypto startup, and the next day, oh, look, I want to create a D2C brand, whatever, so focus on one. And once one is successful, then you can do another one. But at first, it's already hard to do one well, right? As you know, Alex.
Okay.
And the third, I would say, persevere. That means don't give up until you've tried everything. And, because another mistake is you were about to finish the race, but then you gave up,
Don't give up. Go
Yes.
till the end.
Yes.
That's very good. Thank you very much. And I have also one takeaway for everybody who is viewing us. If you want to be successful on Amazon, please contact Stefano. Stefano put a lot to build a great business on Amazon, right?
Thank you, Alex, for that. And contact Alex for your fulfillment.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, Wapi is helping you with fulfillment, pick, pack, store, and delivery all over the Europe. We are working to help you go global and act local in every country. So we want to stop the cross border because cross border is very long and very expensive, and we invite
Yes.
people to localize their stock at the markets and be successful because they deliver their goods in 24 hours. The customers are super happy and want to buy more.
So Alex, you build a foundation. We help you skyrocket your sales on Amazon in Europe, launch products and all that we've spoken about. And so feel free to reach out to us. I guess we'll put that in the show notes. Shoot me an email or whatever, maybe even our website there.
Yeah, we will write down. You can see under the video the contacts.
Okay, great.
Also, you can send an email. If you write that you're from Wapi, probably
You
Stefano
get a
will.
special special treatment for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank
And
you, Alex.
good luck to both of us. It will be an interesting year.
Indeed. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully, cross finger. Thank you again.